Hello, everyone. I'm Chris with AffinityHM.com. Welcome to the show. I want to talk tonight with you guys about how the CPAP supply chain broke and what's next. So, we're going to go over a lot of details that you may or may not have heard about before on this whole situation to where there are CPAP shortages all across the nation. And of course, we all know there are shortages of many different items across the nation. CPAPs, you can still get a hold of them. They're very difficult to get a hold of, especially if you're looking for a certain brand of CPAP. So I just want to invite you to if you would, look across the bottom, that ticker that's going across the bottom, join a giveaway. We're going to give away a gift card tonight later on in the show. If you would just type into the comments, hashtag AffinityHM. That's our website, AffinityHM.com. The HM is for home medical, and you'll be entered automatically into the contest to win a gift card. So please do that no matter where you are. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, just type in the comments, AffinityHM, and you're going to be in that contest. So we want to talk about this supply chain, especially as it's related to CPAP machines and what's going on and why in detail is it a problem and what you can do if you are looking for a new CPAP about it, what some ideas, some solutions perhaps. All right, so first of all, I've already mentioned the giveaway. Type that into comments. You can see it right there. And then later on in the show, I'm going to tell you about another contest that we just launched last night. And in this contest, you can win by joining the contest. You enter your name and your email, and that's it. And once you're in the contest, then just by watching some videos, sharing the videos, joining the Facebook group, CPAP for Beginners, different things you do, you're earning points as you do these points. So I'll explain that a little bit later on. But let's dive right in now. I want to talk about the CPAP news and specifically why it's so hard to get a CPAP machine. The CPAP shortages are all over the country. So let's start off with how the CPAP chain broke, and later we'll talk about what's next. But right now, how the CPAP chain broke. Well, it all started back in 2020, time in our lives that we would like to probably never remember again. But there definitely was a huge effect back in these days whenever the pandemic hit. There was a lot of companies that made CPAPs that weren't going to work. Also, if you remember, at the worst in the beginning in 2020, there was a lot of talk about actually using a CPAP machine for those who were very sick because of the expected ventilator shortages. And, would it be okay to use a CPAP in a hospital setting even? So the manufacturers were gearing up to try to make that a possibility. And I think that affected a lot of the supply. And so that was really, the beginning of all of the woes that we're having now. And so that definitely had an effect. What do you think? Do you think that the pandemic had an effect on now, which is almost 2 years later? Are we still feeling some effects from that through the pandemic? I can tell you the answer absolutely is yes, because still there are companies and manufacturers who the employees are not working in the manufacturer. They don't have enough employees. People are still out of work, not actually out there making the machines. So that's having a definite effect on things. So then later on, we started looking at the semiconductors or the chip shortage. Now, the chip shortage goes really deep, and it goes way beyond just CPAP machines. There's really a chip in just about everything. I mean, for goodness sake, there's a chip in your refrigerator. If you have one of those cloud-based refrigerators, I don't have one, but you might have one to where I guess it sends you a text if you're low on milk, or if you need some eggs, you get a little text and like, hey, you need to go to the grocery store. Well, I guess next they'll make refrigerators that do that part for us too. But the point is that there's a chip in just about everything that you buy that's electronic now. And definitely there is a chip in the CPAP machines. So anytime there is a problem getting the chip that goes in a CPAP machine, that's going to have an effect on the manufacturing of CPAP machines. So this chip shortage actually cost the U.S. economy billions in 2021. This is from CBS News, a report that I saw. Supply chain shortages have hit virtually every industry, but the microchip shortage is having the biggest impact. Experts estimate the global chip shortage cost the U.S. economy $240 billion in 2021. That is a lot of money. So, obviously the chip shortage, that's a little hard to say. The chip shortage is having an effect. So look at this. Only a small handful of companies. This is the part that is really interesting. There's only really a handful of companies that actually manufacture chips. Let me give you an example of what I have learned. For example, Sony, Microsoft, Apple, Qualcomm, AMD, Nvidia, and soon Intel, they're working on a deal. All of these manufacturers use the exact same one single company to make their chips for all of their equipment. It's called TSMC. It's a Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company. Taiwan. So think about that. Have you read about Taiwan? So that is the situation right now. So many companies are using the same smaller company, and it's all outsourced. Whether or not they say they make their chips in the U.S., they might use the word "we make our own chips," but what they're really doing is they're designing the chip, sending the plans off over there, and the actual making of the chip is happening not in the US. So it affects things. It affects things drastically. As a matter of fact, we have heard from the CEO of ResMed on this issue. Um, the title is "Prioritize Semiconductors for Medical Devices, Not Cell Phones." So here's what he had to say. San Diego Union Tribune. ResMed's Mick Farrell urges chip manufacturers to prioritize CPAPs and other medical devices amidst the ongoing shortage. Farrell has been on numerous calls. I think he does Zoom calls with these folks. He's been on numerous calls urging semiconductor makers in particular to consider placing medical devices, ventilators, sleep apnea machines like CPAPs and other respiratory devices on a priority to ship. So right now, it's not really the priority. Uh, Business is business, I suppose. And so the chip makers are going to send the chips to their biggest customers. And of course, there are many CPAP, BiPAP, ventilator machines, and medical devices out there. But there may be more numbers wise, dollars wise, in supplying the chips to other types of industries. Here's a quote from the ResMed guy. I am definitely working with some of the biggest names out there and really asking, begging, and pleading that we should prioritize medical devices over another cell phone, another electric car, another cloud connected refrigerator, he said. This is from the San Diego Union Tribune.com. So he's out there trying to persuade them and convince them. Whether or not that's going to go well is another story. Who knows? But I hope that he has success in persuading those folks to just have a heart and give a priority to us, the CPAP folks, the CPAP community, and other medical devices as well, of course. So hit number one, pandemic. Hit number two, chip shortage. And then hit number three might have been the biggest one of them all, the recall. Philips DreamStation recall. Did you know that that right around 4 million, and I have heard estimates higher than that, right around 4 million CPAP machines were recalled this past summer in June. So with a recall of that magnitude, obviously the manufacturers are up against the wall to try to make more machines, having troubles with chips. And this is why whenever you go to your local supplier right now, they may or may not have a machine. It's going to depend on the size of the company, their history, and so it's really a tough situation. So I'm kind of tired of talking about the recall. How about you guys? But it is the reality. It's the reality of what we're living with right now. So hit number 1, 2, and 3. And now here's one that you might not have thought about before, but it is definitely having an impact on our situation. The truckers. I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of truck drivers, 18-wheeler drivers out there who use CPAP. Very, very many of them do. As a matter of fact, they're coming in my office all of the time because as a truck driver, once a year, if you're diagnosed with CPAP, then once a year in your standard annual physical, you have to prove that you're using your CPAP machine. As a matter of fact, when you're getting the job, you have to go on a health consult, and they may send you, if you don't have a CPAP machine, they may send you to a sleep lab to have a sleep test, and then you have to get a CPAP machine, and you have to prove to them once a year that you're actually using it. But let's see, how many truckers do you think there actually are that are using CPAP? This number is astonishing. A study conducted by the University of Pennsylvania found that almost one third, 28%, 33 being one third, so it's kind of close to one third. 28% is still a very high number of commercial truck drivers have mild to severe sleep apnea. 28%. And I like numbers. So if you think back on some of our previous videos, we talked about how many people currently are diagnosed with sleep apnea and how many people they have estimated probably have sleep apnea, but it's undiagnosed. Well, the diagnosed portion is a very small percentage, somewhere around 12 to 20% are already diagnosed. That means 80% are not diagnosed. So what that means to me is that if they know 28% of truckers are already have mild or severe to severe sleep apnea, then there's a much bigger number of truck drivers who probably are undiagnosed out there driving trucks. So uh, well, I didn't say that to scare you or anything, but I do know that when I'm passing a truck on the interstate, I always try to slow. I either pass them or I don't pass them. I pass them quickly is the point. But yes, our CPAP chain is definitely broke. So now let's get into what is next and what can you do about it. So we've taken 4 big hits over the past couple of years, and it's really tough to find a CPAP. If you're using a Dream Station still, then that could be an issue as well. But I really recommend to buy a CPAP. Buy a CPAP online if you can't get one through your insurance or through your local provider. Do what you can to try to acquire a CPAP machine. And if in the recall, talk to your doctor about using it until, because you know there's some new information out that came out about a month ago about the foam, and it's a little more promising. They weren't totally direct in saying, yeah, it's safe. They didn't say that, of course, because the recall is still on. Nothing has changed in the sense of the recall. So I don't know if they were just kind of trying to talk out of both sides of their mouth with it, but the independent team that tested the Dream Station, forced to do that by the FDA. The independent team did say that they don't think that it would cause long-term problems. But if you have sleep apnea and you're unable to get a new CPAP machine or it hasn't been replaced yet, I highly recommend using CPAP because that's really the way to treat it. And if you can't get another machine, then possibly talk to your doctor again with that newer information in mind. I think a lot of you talked to your doctors about it back in June, and the doctor might have said, no, don't use it. With this new information, the doctor may have a different opinion. Now, I am not a doctor, so I'm not saying use it. I'm saying talk to your doctor about possibly using it. So that's one potential solution. But what if your doctor says not to use the recall machine and you don't want to buy one right now, and or the insurance will not cover it? So there are many, I think millions of people who are in this exact predicament right here. Well, here's a couple of little things that you could do. While it's not as effective as a CPAP, these tips are better than doing nothing. So let me just give you, I've got a bunch of them here. One, a Knight's Bridge chin strap. So obviously CPAP is the best thing to do, but if you're gonna forego the CPAP, at least a chin strap, one that like the Knight's Bridge that doesn't pull back, it pulls straight up. And this keeps your chin in place. And it might actually, for some people that have very mild sleep apnea, it might actually keep your airway open potentially. Number two, sleep on your right side. It's better to sleep on your right side than on your left side. Three, sleep in a recliner. So, while you're lying flat on your back in the bed, gravity is taking hold of all of that in your airway, especially your tongue and the base of your tongue, and closing off your airway. So if you're sitting up more, then it's not going to have as much of an effect. Still, you need CPAP, but this could be a solution for you for a temporary situation. Number four, get more exercise. That's always good. No matter what's going on in your life, to exercise more means to be healthy. Of course, you want to get that approved by your doctor. There are some folks who can't exercise. They're in too bad a shape to exercise at this point. But if your doctor agrees, do more exercise. Also, consume less or maybe don't consume at all alcohol. Alcohol is a whole nother video, but just real briefly, alcohol has been proven to cause what we would call segmented sleep, where you actually are going to wake up many, many times through the night, and it exacerbates your sleep apnea. So alcohol is really bad for sleep apnea. It doesn't go well together. There are dental devices that can be used by some, and there is a newer device. One must really qualify for it through the doctor, but it's called Inspire. It's a surgically implanted device, goes into your neck, has a little wire, and whenever your airway closes, it sends a little signal, and it sort of lifts your tongue out of the way, opening the airway so that you can breathe properly. So there are some who can actually totally get off of CPAP and get the Inspire unit. I don't know yet if I love it or if I like it, but I do know that you definitely want to talk to your doctor, see if you're a candidate, pray hard about it, and go for it if you think it's for you. So those are some easy solutions. Obviously, the very best solution would be to actually get a CPAP machine, a new one. Even if you had to get kind of the lower ones, what I mean, like not necessarily the most expensive, but like a Luna, for example, you could get something like that for pretty low cost. Now we have the one in the middle. It's called the iBreeze ResVent iBreeze. It's pretty much as good as a ResMed AirSense 10. I haven't found too many things that I don't like about it. Watch the video. You'll see there's a couple that are not really great about this machine, but it's a fantastic in terms of operation, the way that it operates. It's a wonderful, wonderful machine. So now let's talk about something a little more fun. We have a contest. And in this contest, you have a chance to win a free CPAP cleaner, mask, and more. Just join the contest. The link is in the description. If you're watching this on Facebook or if you're watching it on YouTube, go to the description and you're going to see a link. And in that link, what you would do is just click the link. It asks for your email and it asks for your name. You join the contest. And then over the next several weeks, you'll have the opportunity to watch video. You get points. You share it with a friend. You get points. You actually will get in an email your very own little link. And what you can do with this link in the email is copy that link. You can text that to your friends, ask them to join the contest. I mean, the more the merrier, right? you can take that link and you can post it onto Facebook. And if anyone joins through your link, your special link, then you get 100 points. So it's just a little contest. We're trying to have a little fun. There's going to be 3 winners. One person's going to win their choice of CPAP cleaner, whichever one you want. The second place is someone's going to win any CPAP mask that we have in stock. That's the mask and the headgear comes together. And the third place winner is going to win some CPAP wipes. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I appreciate you guys joining in on that. And if you haven't already done it, definitely you want to go ahead and join the Facebook group CPAP for Beginners. I've seen so many, it's growing like crazy fast. So I imagine some of you are on this right now in that group watching this video. And I want to thank everyone, thank all of the new members, and hopefully you're getting some good answers. And you know, ask your questions. And there are so many people. There's 2 groups basically of people: the brand new people who are just now starting and maybe having some little bumps in the road or some big bumps in the road. And then there's people in the group who have been using CPAP for a long, long time, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or 5 years, who have already gone through this. And I can tell you, after having set up CPAP machines for more than 20 years, I can tell you that it's so common to have problems. CPAP is not that easy to get used to for most. It's something you have to train yourself in, stick with it, and really be committed. And one key to making CPAP work and getting through that first little bit that might be a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, sometimes more, but usually a week or 2 weeks. The key is to start the night out every night using the CPAP. And if you'll commit to doing that one thing, then eventually you run into problems that you solve. You run into another problem, you solve it. Run into another problem, you solve it. And through the group, you can get tips and little answers on how to solve these problems, as well as encouragement. So if you haven't already, definitely join the group in Facebook, CPAP for Beginners. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, definitely, you guys, please subscribe to the channel. I know a lot of people watch the videos and they don't ever subscribe. So I really would love it if you did subscribe to the YouTube channel. But now, if you haven't already done it, this is your last chance to type into comments, whether you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you are, type in comments AffinityHM, or excuse me, hashtag AffinityHM, and you're going to be in the contest. Let me go take just a quick look and see if we got a couple people in the contest. Let's see. All right, give me 1 second. I've got to set this back up again. Won't take long. But our contest said there was an error, so I just shut it down. I'm going to restart it. It should pick up all your comments that you've made already. I hope. All right, Affinity HM. Okay, yes, there are people in the contest. Wonderful. Okay, I don't know if you're still seeing me or not, because I think I totally goofed up. Okay, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go ahead and actually go ahead and do the drawing here. I'm going to just have to let you know who won, because this computer is acting up. Oh no, here we go. All right. I just don't know how to operate a computer, y'all. Sorry about that. Having some technical difficulties here. Okay. It's all working. All right. One more time. Let me go over here to the giveaway tool. And we are going to share that screen. I want you to be able to actually see that yourself. Hashtag AffinityHM. All right. Now, how's everybody doing tonight? I hope y'all doing good. After we do this contest, we're going to have some Q&A. So if you have a question you would like to ask, go ahead and ask your question in comments as well. All right. Nope, that's not it. Okay, guys, I'm not going to be able to share the screen, but I'm going to do the contest and I'm about to do the drawing right now. So let's see who has won the gift card. And it's scrolling through all of the names. It's slowing down. And the gift card winner for tonight is Loretta watching on YouTube. And she's got a beautiful picture of a dog. And I'm so sorry I was unable to share that screen. Beautiful dog. Loretta, you're the winner. So if you would go to affinityhm.com, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see an email address. Just email me your name and that you won. And on tomorrow, I will email you back a gift card to affinityhm.com. My apologies, everyone, for all of the technical difficulties. But that was fun. All right, now let's check it out. I want to see if we've got some questions. This is really, honestly, my favorite part is whenever you guys have got questions. So Loretta, be sure you do email. And let's see. Dun, dun, dun. I see Belty Cat's here. Hey, Belty. Oh, this is an excellent question. All right. Are all CPAP machines made overseas? To my knowledge, the answer is yes. I mean, no matter, almost all electronics are made overseas. Now, even if there might be a CPAP manufacturer that I'm not aware of, there are many of them, but all of them that I'm aware of, they're made overseas. Absolutely. And definitely, even if the ones that were made in the US, they're still getting their chips from overseas and from those very small handful of chip manufacturers overseas. But I forgot to mention regarding the semiconductors, there is right now in the works a deal to try to create a huge semiconductor manufacturing plant in the US in Arizona. The government is wanting to get involved and supply a big amount of money to these folks so that they can actually make the chips. And I think that is a marvelous idea. I hope that it goes through. Okay. Loretta answered the question. Yes, probably like everything else. Okay, Chris, do you recommend? All right, Belty Cat, Chris, do you recommend buying used CPAP machines from eBay? I don't think it's a problem to buy a used CPAP machine. Hopefully, there's one really important key. Two, I think. Two. One, if it's from a smoker's home, there's almost nothing you can do. I think you can get an ozone cleaner and clean it out maybe one good time. But I don't think there's a whole lot you can do to get that smoky smell out of a CPAP machine. And then point number two is if you can find out how many hours is on the machine. So a machine could be 10 years old and have 20 hours on it. It's going to be, as long as it was stored properly, it's going to be a pretty dang good machine. So I see no problem with it. As a matter of fact, because most virus and bacteria, it dies, after a little while. So that shouldn't be an issue. Like thinking like, well, wonder if the person before me had something, but that shouldn't be an issue either. So if that's your budget, that I would do that. Now, the other factor is you're going to need, and be sure if you do get one that's previously used and not from a certified vendor like ourselves, we're accredited. But if you're getting ones from just somebody, let's say you get it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, you've got to set the pressure. You can't set it, well, you can set it yourself, but the only way to properly set a pressure is through a prescription with a doctor and then have an authorized vendor set the pressure. That way you can know that it's going to be set correctly. And that's absolutely crucial that the pressure is correct. There's almost no use in even using CPAP if you don't have the pressure right. So really good questions. All right. So that is everything that I had. I hope you guys enjoyed the show for tonight. If you remember, I've got to apologize too, because I told a couple of you that tonight we were going to talk about the new technology. Well, turns out the new technology is something that is requiring a little bit more time than what I had anticipated. So I do believe that next week, I'm going to be showing you something that's about this big that's going to blow your mind. I really think we're going to have that put together by next week. I can't wait to share that with you guys. It's going to be exciting. So Thanks again, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it very much. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Pray for our military, you guys, that everything works out beautifully for each and every one in the military and their families, and that hopefully it's all going to get squared away real quick, and we won't have to get involved. Hopefully, but we don't know. We do what we have to do, right? But say prayers for them, guys and gals. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great evening. Talk to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.